Hello, I'm Vagabond, and today I'm here to talk to you about domain format. For this video, I'm going to be reading from a script, so my eyes are going to be this way, so just, deal with it. You don't care. It doesn't matter. If you don't know what domain format is, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! With 4 players, 60 cards, no duplicates allowed, and a deck master. The deck master is able to be played multiple times throughout the duel, but it also dictates what monsters you're allowed to play in your deck. So naturally, one of the first things you might be thinking when you start deck building is, how do I expand my domain? Well, let's look at our friend Astral Karibo here to get an idea. Astral Karibo is a light attribute fiend monster, meaning any light monster or fiend monster in the game is allowed in your deck. They don't have to be both, just one or the other. But Astral Karibo also lists the number archetype in its text, allowing you to also play any of those monsters. So your deck master decides your domain based on those 3 things: type, attribute, and archetype. But what if we went even further? Let's take a look at Vanquish Soul Pantera. She's an Earth Beast warrior and part of the Vanquish Soul archetype. But if you read her text, she mentions the fire attribute. Domain's rules actually allow you to play fire monsters if you choose her as a deck master because they are specified in her text. We call these cases wide domains. So now that we see this is possible, how far can we push this idea? What cards out there allow for this? Well, a lot actually, way more than I'm going to talk about in this video. The domain generator on Domain Format's website can help you find specific ones yourself, but I wanted to highlight the best of the best. It's funny looking through the game's history and seeing this show up time and time again. Attribute boosters for the game's second booster pack, Metal Raiders, already introduced the concept of wide attribute domains. Meanwhile, wide type domains can be seen in cards like Awakening of the Possessed Monsters, who list Spellcaster as the type in their text. Then you have cases like number 39 Utopia and Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, who have wide archetype domains. Then you keep going up and up, seeing monsters like the Element ones who list 3 attributes. But that's still not quite the distance I want to go here, and these monsters wouldn't make great deck masters anyways. If you've played modern Yu-Gi-Oh! In the past few years, a lot of these cards will look familiar. Tri-Brigade and its descendants created what people call tri-types or super-types, and in Domain, it's an even bigger deal. They don't just expand your domain arbitrarily, but create meaningful synergies to build decks around. The seamlessness will make them a lot more appealing than just facilitating a gimmick. But the next step is the big one that this video is really looking for. 4 attributes or types is where I'd start to call it a rainbow domain. I know there aren't 7, but I think it's enough to where your deck begins to feel like there's barely any limitation. The lower end rainbow domains are pretty out there with Alligator Sword Dragon and the 2 Gen X Ally Synchros. But when we hit 5, things start to get pretty legit. The Doriados, 5-Headed Dragons, Electrum, and Metaltron all offer an opportunity for pretty crazy build-arounds. In each case, you are only missing either light or dark attribute. But there is such a thing as perfection, and only 2 cards offer it: Element Saber Lapoila Mana and Invoked Elysium. Each of these list every attribute in Yu-Gi-Oh! Except Divine, but Divine is allowed in any domain. No monster is off limits with these 2. There is lots of strategy and nuance in deck master mechanics, and widening to a perfect domain doesn't mean you have a perfect deck master. Let's take a step back and look at types again. Sea Lancer, Pharaonic Advent, Alpha Caribou, Xenometeorus, Agave Dragon, and Animadorn Darkosaur all list 4 different types. Now, obviously that's not as wide as 4 attributes, but it does lead to some combinations that 4 attributes wouldn't share, with deck masters more tailored for them. But for the widest type domains, there is no perfect one. No card lists every type in the game. These 3 are the closest we have though: Kitty Tail, Carboponica, and Propagandake, all listing 5. I also wanted to point out that I didn't really list wide archetype domains, and that's because they're pretty straightforward. Not many monsters list a lot of archetypes, but when they do, they don't really need deciphering. Astrograph and Chronograph sorcerers do list every Zark Dragon. Utopia Onomatopoeia does let you play all your Dododos and Gagagas, but does that really need explaining? The attributes and types are going to be where most of the exploration and experimentation is done. Alright, that pretty much wraps this video up. In the future, if they drop more super types or tri-types, or rainbow, perfect, whatever, just anything in this realm, I will be happy to cover it. I'll do another video on it. I'll talk in depth about it as I get better at playing domain format myself. Also, every week I will be uploading on today, Jesus Christ. Every week on Thursday, I will be uploading another domain format video all about a domain. So next week, I will probably do dark, maybe, we'll see. If that sounds interesting to you, then please subscribe. I would love to have an audience for this, and feedback and communication and conversation about all the deck ideas and experimentation people are up to. And going attribute by attribute, I think, is a really good way to like familiarize with the card pool of Yu-Gi-Oh! In a domain format context. Also, don't forget to join the Domain Format Discord server. It's where all the events and the announcements and the talk is happening. So please join us there. See you there, and I'll see you next week. Bye.